Rachel Dolezal, she's probably transracial. Since when is transracial a thing? First of all, okay? I'm not going to get into the other trans categories. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I don't want this video to be an hour long. So since when is transracial a thing? First of all. Really? So you're telling me that I could, you know, finally just wake up and just realize, you know what? Deep inside my heart and soul and in my experiences in life, I have come to the conclusion that I am transracial. I'm actually a white woman. You know, I grew up listening to Britney Spears and NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I used to watch Friends. I like mayonnaise on my sandwiches. Brad Pitt is very attractive. I think that I was born in the wrong body. I'm really supposed to be a white woman. I'm transracial. So I could bleach my skin color. I could shave my locks off and start wearing a blonde wig. I could go to where Tiny Harris went and she got her gray eyes implanted. I can get rid of my dark brown eyes, which are commonly associated with people of color, and I could get, you know, some blue ones. You know what? And now, as long as my mom and dad stay quiet, I could go on my life being a white woman. And it'll be okay. I could become a leader at a white organization. And once my family decides to out me and tells the world that I'm actually black, I've been living a lie as a white woman, I'll be able to stay in the organization? Doubt it. I don't think it will go like that the other way around, okay? You know what? A lot of people like to say, okay, well, being in NAACP, she has done a lot of great things for black people. And I don't want to take that away from her. I'm sure she probably has. But at the same time, you don't gotta be black to help black people. Because, you know, if you look at history, black people wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for white people helping us. And that's just a fact. That's an immutable fact. So if she was really concerned about black people, she wouldn't have to turn black to help us. That's not what happened here. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go into the business of trying to deconstruct her brain and figure out what will make her do that. You know what? Because at the end of the day, I already know. I already know what's up. I know enough to know what's up. And I know that we, as black people, we are hated so much, but we are loved so much at the same damn time. You know, sometimes that little quote is true. Hate us because they ain't us. And I really feel like that's very often the case when it comes to white people and black people relation. I mean, it's crazy. I find it really, really crazy. It's just like eye roll. I'm not gonna like get in the business of getting stressed out and get ulcers over people's foolishness. That's why when I have conversations with people about cultural appropriation, for instance, non-Hindu people, I'm not too sure, I don't want to, you know, sound ignorant, but Indian people, you know, they wear bindis and their third eye. That's a cultural thing for a cultural group of people. And when those people wear it, it's cultural appropriation. But I'm not gonna be in the business of, you know, calling people out every time they offend the culture, because I'm sure there's probably things that I do unknowingly, and you know, I don't want to be a hypocrite in that regard. Actually, I have a dream catcher tattoo. A lot of people will feel like that's cultural appropriation since I'm not a Native American. However, my dream catcher tattoo, I'm not going to get deep into it in this video, but there's a lot of meanings behind my personal choice and decision in getting my dream catcher tattoo. I'll talk about that in a future video when I, you know, talk about my piercings and tattoos, so stay tuned for that. So I'm not going to hate on everybody who culturally appropriates, but I am going to, you know, try to bring awareness, because at the end of the day, people need to know, or people should know what they're doing, and they should know that they may be offending some people. Rachel, you're not, like, she's not black. I saw a ton of photographs of her wearing box braids. Box braids is a culturally black hairstyle. And you know what? People don't get it. And I realize how much people don't get it. And it's so frustrating because, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So I made a video months ago talking about faux locks. For those of you watching this video and can't tell, I have locks and they're in the style right now, so that made them look really short. But I have long locks. I've had my locks for 5 years, and a lot of times people wear fake locks or lock extensions, faux locks, and it gives them a temporary look of real locks, more or less. And a lot of people with locks are offended by people who don't have natural locks or who are wearing these faux locks. A lot of people are offended by that for several reasons. I'm not gonna get into depth on what reasons they feel like that. Me personally, I don't really care about what anybody else does. To be honest, I care, but not that much. So you can check out that video and read the comments below, because you'll find out a lot about how people feel about people appropriating locks. Essentially, that is what it is. Under that video, someone left a comment and they claim to have had locks, real locks, natural locks, for 10 years. And you know what? And shame on me, but I feel like when people have locks for so long, I just associate that with like wisdom. But I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. She left a comment saying something like, why are people mad about people wearing locks? You know, white people don't get mad about black people wearing straight hair. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what cultural appropriation is and what it means to you know, people. Now, I just googled it and I'm going to read you the definition, the first definition that pops up. Cultural appropriation is the adoption of elements of one culture by members of a different cultural group, especially if the adoption is of an oppressed people's culture. Especially if the adoption is of an oppressed people's cultural elements by cultures of the dominant culture. So when people like to use the excuse of, oh, people are taking white culture, that's cultural appropriation, by definition it is not. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to comparing people's experience, you can't compare privilege to the oppressed. The hurt of the oppressed is always going to be more than the hurt of the privileged. Oppressed people have had so much taken from them that the little things, what may seem little to many, the elements of their cultures are weighted very heavily, especially with black people, African American people, people who are descendants of slaves, because that's not really the case for all black people. Let's remember that. When black people have certain cultural elements that white people try to adopt and use for their own stylish needs, or, you know, just frivolous fashion statements, it is very offensive to black people because, one, black people were literally ripped from their traditions and cultures, ripped from their lands and families by their oppressors, white people. So when white people try to take that from black people, it's doubly, triply, quadruply offensive and hurtful. I think I ranted long enough. Let me wrap this up. So in a nutshell, the way I feel, I wish people would be more sensitive to other cultures. And if you decide to adopt from another culture, make sure that you give credit where credit is due. That's why I appreciate Justin Timberlake, for instance. He makes R&B music, soul music. And he's a white man who is using black music for his own financial gain and his own you know, artistic expression. But the thing about Justin Timberlake, he is known to give credit to the people who inspired him, like Michael Jackson, a black man, Charlie Wilson, a black man, which is a reason why Iggy Azalea gets so much hate as she does, because she doesn't give props where props are due. You know, I mean, I've never heard her, you know, shout out her black inspirations. Maybe she has, but I've never heard it. I've only heard her offensive tweets and racist tweets. That's all I've heard from her. White people with locks, I'm not gonna get into that in this video. I'll make a separate video for that, maybe. So if you're gonna appropriate a culture, give props, but you know, try your best not to appropriate, because people find their culture to be very important to them as a, you know, a individual who identifies with their culture. Transracial is not a thing. Rachel Dolezal has no mental illness. She's just a high-level appropriator. The NAACP loves to dip and dabble into colorism, as does the rest of the world. Do you know how popular bleaching creams are? And you know how bleaching creams were marketed? I'm gonna make a whole nother video for bleaching cream. Definitely subscribe for more content. If you're interested in knowing how I achieved this hairstyle, check out this video. I'll link it up right here. You see, this is why I don't like to make rant videos, because it just brings up so many other topics that I want to rant about, and I don't always want to rant. Like, I like to be a positive person, and ranting just brings out the negativity in my heart and soul. But I guess if I bring it out, then it's out of me, right? So I should probably rant more often. Maybe, we'll see. Please weigh in below. Let me know what you think. Be mindful of what you say, because you will get deleted and blocked. Simple as that. Thanks for watching. Love, light, and locks.